Well, it looks like my starter is finally here. So here's my John Deere 425 garden tractor. That starter that was just in the mailbox is going on. And if it looks like a mess right now, you should see what it looked like when I picked it up a few months ago. Actually, this thing has been sitting, at least a couple months. I picked this thing up. I won this on a government auction on Gov Deals for about 150 bucks last year sometime. And the reason it caught my eye is because they don't usually come up so cheap locally. But also I was headed to Alabama from where I live in South Georgia to pick up this tractor for myself, this 2210. And this was right along the route, and I figured if I could work everything out, I'd be able to pick it up on the way back. So here's what it looked like when I got it. And so as you can see now, I've done a little bit of stuff to it. I've got the fender pan off. The other one was all tore up. I've got a new one here to go on it. Well, another one I should say. They don't still make them new, obviously. As you can see, it had no front wheels on it at all when I got it. And these front wheels, I believe I took these off at 318. I was parting out. The wheels were the same. And I sourced those tires off of Amazon. I took apart the carburetor and all this and cleaned it out, put it back together with new gaskets and O-rings. Just trying to get it ready for when I could start it. And I got this PTO switch for it. This is the later style 425, so it's got that 3-way PTO switch that lifts up to mow in reverse. Sorry about the background noise. And another thing I had to do is I had to get a starter for it. So I guess they must have used this as a parts tractor. It had no starter on it. Got this one and it didn't work. Nothing happened when you turned the key and the starter was locked up. So that's why I just picked up this one. Here's another starter I picked up off eBay for about $40. So we'll see if when I get that on, if it's finally ready to turn over. Now that I've fixed up a couple of the other electrical issues. And I also put a new fuel pump in it and actually a whole new thinning unit. And actually this is another fuel tank as well. The other one had about ½ inch of old gummed up gas stuck to the bottom of it, which I knew I just never was going to be able to clean out all the way. So I had this one laying around from another 425 and ordered a fuel pump off of eBay or Amazon. And I think all that is finally wired right. So once we get the starter on, hopefully this thing will turn over now that I've got the PTO switch and key switch and everything installed. We'll see what it does. Here's the starter. It's actually not too difficult. It just goes on with 2 bolts here into the engine. A little difficult to get in here, but it's not too hard to get on. I found it's easiest to just get these on with a socket wrench and with a 1/2 inch on it. You can't really get an impact wrench in here unless you came from the front with a lot of extensions, but it's got these engine mounts in the way. Let's see if I can remember how all these wires go. This orange spade connector goes over here. I think it should be pretty obvious. I just did this a few days ago with the other starter that turned out to be bad. And I had to fix some of this wiring, as you can see. So hopefully I did that all right. We're going to find that all out when we go try to start it for the first time in a few minutes. Here's the main power cable that goes to the battery. Alright, let's go to the front and connect the battery. now this will be the first time we test and see if it'll actually turn over. I've kind of been able to rotate the engine a little bit by hand by sticking my hand in here where the drive shaft isolator is, and it doesn't seem locked up, but I haven't really been able to hear it turn over at all. Like I said, I'm not even sure what's wrong with this. They obviously used it as parts. Had no starter, no fuel pump, all that stuff was messed up, so this will be the first time I get to try to turn it over. I went and got some gas, put some fresh gas in there, and I hear the fuel pump when I turn the key, so I think all that's working right. Let's see if it turns over. Gotta say, I'm extremely surprised. That was honestly the first time I've ever even tried to turn that thing over. Right there on camera, I haven't done anything to it before. I only had one hand, and so I tried to turn this key switch over. I didn't give it any choke or mess with the throttle or anything, and it started right up. Only turned over a few times. I have no idea when the last time they ran this thing was, but maybe it wasn't as long ago as I thought. I'm actually pretty surprised. I'm going to start it back up and let it run for a little while. I've got to order, obviously, the side panels, the grill, the hood, all the plastics are missing, but that's okay because they're usually damaged anyway, and it'll definitely look a lot better with new ones. Let me start it back up and see if it'll run again. Oh, it definitely needs a lot of work, but it's getting closer. So at the end there, it started sputtering and smoking. Almost smells like oil. It did have some oil in it. Actually seemed to be pretty full. Now I'm not so sure. It doesn't look too full anymore. So we'll let it dry, sit for a little bit, and check it again. Smoking over here, I'm sure it's got its fair share of leaks. And the carburetor looked like the gas tank that was in it, and it was just full of this old black gummy gas that was almost like the consistency of tar. And I took that out and let it sit in the ultrasonic cleaner for about a week, and I scrubbed it and replaced all the jets, replaced all the O-rings and gaskets and seals, and put it back together. Not really sure what to expect, so I'm actually pretty surprised that it even ran how it did at first. It's definitely going to need some adjustment. Probably will need to be taken off and cleaned again, you know, after running some gas through it for the first time. It only has, this says 753 hours. That's not a lot. It wasn't well maintained, but hopefully we can get it back in good shape. So at least the engine is not locked up. The engine does run, so that is good. The back tires hold, and like I said, they're the new front tires. I've got to put this fender pan on, and I've got a new seat for it in here that just came. So maybe I'll stick it together and see if we can get it looking like a tractor again. ratchet makes a huge difference doing this job. I know anyone that's taken one of these 4x5 fender pans on and off knows how difficult it can be. And it's still a pain to get everything lined up, but having one of these ratchets makes it twice as fast. Much better already. Still needs all the plastics like I said, but I think by the time we get all that, tail lights are missing. It's gonna look like a real tractor. It looks like it's probably supposed to have some springs that go here and keep the seat up a little bit and give it some suspension. Since this is the 425, it didn't have the suspension seat the 440 and 455 did. But it would be better with those springs, so we'll get some of those springs put in. I'm gonna work a little bit on the engine, see if I can get it to stop smoking, see if I just do some tune-up stuff, get it running a little better. Who knows when the last time the oil was changed in the engine or in the rear end. I'm sure all that needs to be done. Definitely wouldn't hurt, even if it was recently done. So we'll do all that stuff. We'll get some plastics for the hood and for the front. We're gonna check everything and make sure it's charging the battery and everything like that. But I think that's about it for this first video. There's definitely a lot more to be covered. But I appreciate you watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and maybe I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.